Hello and welcome to the Mental Health Hotline. If you are obsessive-compulsive, press 1 repeatedly. If you are codependent, ask someone to press 2 for you. If you have multiple personalities, press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid, we know what you are and what you want. Stay on the line and we'll trace your call. If you're delusional, press 7 and your call will be transferred to the mothership. If you are schizophrenic, listen carefully and a small voice will tell you which number to press. If you are depressive, it doesn't matter which number you press, no one will answer you. If you are dyslexic, press 69696969. If you have a nervous disorder, please fidget with the hash key until the beep. After the beep, please wait for the beep. If you have a short-term memory loss, please try your call again later. And if you have low self-esteem, hang up. All our operators are too busy to talk to you.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross this time-space continuum to a place that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and a host of broadcast affiliates around the world. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. If you'd like to check out all the great programming we have available for you, 724-365 on the X Zone Broadcast Network. The website is xzbn.net. And for the X Zone TV channel, that is exclusive to Simul TV, visit www.simultv.com. My guest this hour, Exonation, the first guest of tonight, is Shelly Robertson, and she resides in Indianapolis, Indiana. Her family is longtime residents of Paulding County, dating back to the 1800s. Shelly is the owner of the old Paulding County Jail, which she purchased in 2015. She is a member of the Paulding Chamber of Commerce, the Eagles, and the Moose organizations. She is the owner of 18PI, which is a paranormal research company that launched in 2014 and operates in part out of the jail. She has been nominated in the past for awards for her paranormal research, pictorial, and video evidence. Joining me now is Shelly Robertson. And Shelly, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me, Shelly, what got you into investigating the paranormal?
Well, a lot of people that's interested and in the paranormal, I guess I'm going to follow the stereotype. I've always had experiences from when I was a small child.
Right.
And, you're always curious. And I went on some investigations like maybe 10 years back. And that's what everything in, and I started to really seriously research.
During your research and during the time that you've been investigating, what, in your opinion, has been the most prevalent case that you worked on?
Well, I would say we have got, there's several, but one that I'm still working on today is there is a unsolved murder case in Paulding County of a 15-year-old girl who was kidnapped walking home theater back in 1960. And her name is Nancy Eagleson, and she was found hours later. She'd been raped and shot in the head, and that murder has been unsolved. A lot. There was some hidden walls, false walls in the jail that had been opened, and some of the evidence from that case was found.
Now, what kind of
And
evidence?
this was back in 2013.
Wow.
What was found was a piece of her dress and a shoe. And that was found by the previous owners of the jail back in 2013. And they had, BCI came, of course, and they sent that stuff over to the crime lab. And they couldn't get any DNA evidence off of it because, of course, it was too degraded over time. And I've been working on this case, studying a lot of the newspaper, a lot of the old the spirits. I'm getting bits and pieces of information from them as well. So I'm hoping to crack that case.
So tell us about your company. That is, let me see here, 187 PI.
Well, it's a paranormal investigation and research company. And what we do is we're constantly working on new theories and new technologies and experimentation. And we have found we're trying to get the Holy Grail of so much new evidence all the time. There's so many intelligent spirits. Recently, we have found that it's ironic. We'll speak about 9/11, and you know that's a really tough time for a lot of people. And we found that the spirits went to New York for their own memorial for the 9/11. That crazy, right?
Now, how did you find that out?
See, our building is so active, and we have resident spirits, and we also have transients, and I wanted to do some research on that. I'm like, okay, I wonder if our intelligent spirits are aware of this tragedy. So we're doing a research night. We set up all of our equipment, and the building was quiet. The only spirits that were there were the children, and I'm like, oh my goodness, okay. All right, so I'm not getting anything that way. Let's wait till after midnight. Then it'll be 9:12. So 5 minutes after midnight, they started talking. Said they'd been in New York. They'd brought a couple of spirits back with them. And what was really wild is a lady came back. Her name was Dina, and said she had a baby with. I was so intrigued, so I looked up the list of all the people that perished, the list of names of the people that perished during 9/11 there at the Twin Towers, and her name was on there, and unborn baby. So we've got all the recordings and everything of this, and I was like, okay, where's everybody been? And several of the spirits chimed in. We run a portal box conventions, and they all come through. They were saying they were in New York. They'd been in New York, and I'm like, wow, wow. And we're like, what did you do in New York? And there was some of them said singing, and then some of the spirits start singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, it sounded like a choir. It's crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but we have all of the footage, all of of this. So I'm finding that the spirit world is very much in tune with even some of these types of events,
So you had all these spirits who went to New York and came back and gave you information that you could actually use to confirm that they were there.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, just give me a second here. I just got a news alert from my newsroom they'd like me to pass on to our listeners. This is from CBC Radio X Zone, the U.S. to reopen land border to Canadians next month, and that's from CBC, and that is confirmed. So once again, the breaking news here from the X Zone Broadcast Network and the newsroom is that the U.S. to reopen land border to Canadians next month. Wow, there you go. Looks like COVID is on its way out, finally.
Yay. Yay.
All right, Shelly, please stand by. You and I have to take our first break. And X Zone Nation, our guest this hour is Shelly Robertson. And if you'd like to find out more about Shelly, if you'd like to contact her, maybe you need her help. Her website is www.187pi.com. That's www, the number is 187pi.com. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, which is right across the river from Buffalo, New York. In fact, looking out our studio window, right across Lake Ontario, I can see Buffalo. Have to go over to Pete's Market, get some more of that wonderful clam chowder. Oh, it's the best over there. Shelly Robertson and I return. Don't go away. And welcome back, everyone. Shelly Robertson is my guest. Her website is www.187pi.com. Shelly, what do you find different as far as storms and paranormal activity are concerned?
Well, that's a really interesting question, because you find a lot of investors, they say that they get a lot more activity during storms. And I am finding, at least at my building, during storms, it's hard for them to vocalize and communicate that way. But what we found is during the storms, we can capture their images on thermal cameras. And that was purely by, because we were having a storm one night, and I'm like, well, let's go snap some pictures with, thermal camera, just on a whim. And the crazy thing about getting the spirits on thermal, if anybody's ever used a thermal camera, when you picture yourselves, you're looking like red and orange and different blobs. There's no real clear or anything like that. But when we get the spirits on thermal, they're not red and orange. They're different shit, and because that's the heat, they're different levels of cold, and their features and stuff come through. It's pretty amazing. So that's what we're finding with the storms, at least in our building. So when we have the storms, we're like all kind of excited. It's almost like there's too much static in the air, too much energy, and it's interfering with the vocalization, but it's enough for manifesting so we can catch them on thermals. And it's pretty amazing. We've got some just fantastic thermal imagery during storms.
Now, Shelley, what do you use as a baseline or benchmark prior to using your equipment to make sure that the equipment will not be picking up any electromagnetic or electric discharge during the storm?
Could you repeat that for me?
Yeah, I basically, what do you use as a baseline prior to using the equipment, the thermal equipment during a storm to make sure that you're not picking up any electrostatic discharge or electrical discharge that is being interpreted as a spirit?
Well, what we do is the funny thing is we take and we've, especially when we know there's a storm coming, we take the first rounds of photographs through the building, and we watch the barometers and watch all of the atmospheric gauges. And then when the storm starts to kick up, we take those same photos in the exact same places in the building, and there is no way that the human form and facial expressions and everything is just a static discharge. And what we're building now, here's another really awesome thing that we're working on, so that we could film them all the time or get to hear them vocalize all the time, because we get to hear them talk with no equipment a lot in that building too, like disembodied voices. We're working on some static generators and dissipators. So, and now to maybe when there's not storms, bring the levels up in certain areas in the building so that we could photograph them all the time. That's what we're working on now, to see if that will actually, if that's going to work the same as it does during storms.
What is your theory, Shelley, on why the spirits are here? Why haven't they gone to wherever spirits go after the person's dead?
I know that is something everybody, everybody wonders, right?
It's the $1 million question, right?
Yes, and people, you talk to a lot of different people, a lot of different researchers, and then they'll say, well, they have unfinished business, or maybe they've died tragically or whatnot. But my thought is, some of them, I think, are very attached to what they're doing. And I don't necessarily think that it's unfinished business or it's tragic deaths. I think it has to do with a little bit more than that, because I've got something I'm working on with blood typing, and that's very, very intense, and this research is going to take a long time, and you got to get blood types of people. So, but I have a theory on why they're still here, and because you talk to different people and they're saying, we have a lot of children in our building too, and it's like, well, there's children in the jail. Where did they come from, and why are they there? And they're trying to gain your trust, and yada yada. Right. You get all of these things that people say, and I'm like, well, I'm there a lot by myself, and them little kids have had my trust a long time, and I'm pretty sure they are just that, little kids. So my theory on the reason they're here is, I think they're O negative blood types. Now,
Why O negative? Because doesn't O negative or the O have the lowest hemoglobin, which means it has the lowest amount of iron? And if there's going to be a connection between a spirit and electromagnetic activity, wouldn't it be the blood type with the highest amount of iron in it?
see, you would think that. But here again, what's dragging me this route is, because as a researcher, you got to keep an open mind about all possibilities, okay?
Sure.
So if you take the studies of the O negative blood type, which dates back to the bloodline of fallen angels and all of that, okay? So that's the Nephilim's offspring, and they were cast from heaven, and of course they're not welcome in hell, and that's why a lot of the people, if you talk to a lot of the people that are O negative blood types, especially in this field, they've never had any demonic encounters, and that is including myself. So that made me dig into this, and I'm like, okay, well, that would explain children, because supposedly if you're going to go on the religious, spectrum, up until a certain time, the children are innocent and they're accepted into heaven, right? Okay. I'm like, okay, well then that would explain a little bit as to why they're still here, because they can't. There's nowhere else for them to go. So, basically, kind of stuck,
Well, plus O negative blood is the universal blood. It's used in emergency rooms, trauma centers, when somebody comes in and needs a blood transfusion or needs blood and they haven't had the time to cross-match the blood yet. So would this have anything to do with it?
Well, I think, because listen to this. I think because, all right, if you get into, and mind you, I'm not trying to sermon anybody. It's just a theory. It's the thought process is something I'm working on to see. The O negative blood is the universal blood, and it can heal anybody. But think about this. They can only heal themselves. O negative blood type people can only heal the O negative blood type people. And you got to think, well, okay, that makes a little bit of sense.
Right.
Christ is a healer, blah, blah, blah. And then...
All right, Shelly, I hate to do this to you, but we've got to take our commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. Please stand by. Exonation, Shelly Robertson is our guest. Her website is www.187pi.com. And Shelly and I will be back on the other side of the news as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center from beautiful Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. And from our newsroom at the XZBN, the news is in that next month, the U.S.-Canadian border opens up for Canadian traffic going into the United States. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Emergency.
This is Elijah.
What?
Elijah, you know Elijah?
No, I don't.
Well, they know me down at the police station. Why does that keep beeping like that?
It's on a recording.
Oh, hey, a recording. That's great. You're not being recorded?
Yes, sir.
Hey, that's great. I want everybody to hear about me. Pretty soon I'll be world famous.
That's the truth.
I'm going to Jerusalem pretty soon. God's going to take me his way, a spaceship. UFO, you better believe it. They're everywhere. Everybody has seen. Millions of people have seen them all around the world.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that's right. And God bless the police officers and the scientists and the ordinary people that talk about these UFOs, for they do exist, and I know all about them. I'm a ufologist. I'm the #1 scientist on this planet. I'm an authority on them. I'm a scientist.
Okay.
Have you heard of Albert Einstein?
No, but I'm going to have to go. I got other emergencies.
Well, I can explain it to you. His formula of relativity.
Well, I don't have time to hear Einstein's theory of relativity.
But it's very simple. E does equal mc squared.
That's right.
Okay, Emmanuel equals the Messiah coming the second time. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Einstein was a Jew, and I'm a Jew, and very few people in the world understood him. That's right. I'm an engineer, I'm an electrician, a plumber, everything. I can do anything.
Well, that's wonderful.
And I'm the world's greatest entertainer.
Well,
I'm worth about $50 million a year.
Elijah, I got to go now.
Okay. God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X Zone Radio TV. And let me see, if you would like to get a free copy of the X Chronicles newspaper with our compliments, it's online at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. And for all the past shows of the X Zone, going back, I think, Craig, 12 years? Go to www.xzoneuniverse.com. My guest this hour is Shelly Robertson. Her website is www.187pi.com or 187pi/Facebook, or it's on Facebook, right, Shelly?
Yes.
All right, Shelly, a lot of people in today's strange world are once again picking up with a Ouija board because they think that if they pick up a Ouija board, they can contact a spirit and the spirit can tell them what's going on. I believe Ouija boards are dangerous for people who don't know what they're doing. Shelly, as a professional, what's your take?
Okay, well, I mean, there's going to be mixed reviews. I mean, everybody has. I've heard of a lot of experiences people have had.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, I have had absolutely no luck.
Really?
With absolutely nothing, and we even have several, and I've even got got a hold of a hand-carved one
Mm-hmm.
that's supposedly done all kinds of things. And I'll tell you, I've tried and tried and tried. I've done it alone, which you should not do. But when I wasn't getting anything to happen with any of these boards, with some of my team members, I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to go against the rules, and I'm going to try to do this myself. And I still got absolutely nothing. I have 2 Ouija boards that sit in my office all the time. I took 2 of them, which is so crazy. I took 2 of them, and I even had them one that is known by others to move on its own and stuff, you know, the planchette and everything. I had them under 24-hour surveillance for like 9 months. Never, not even a centimeter. I could not get no action. And so
Really?
then again, you know, people have demonic or ill experiences with Ouija boards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm thinking this is going back to the blood typing research. I'm getting nothing at all. And I have O negative blood.
Mm-hmm.
And also has O negative blood. So I'm like, okay, all right. So is this part of my blood typing, theory, or is it people who are more vulnerable? Or for me, I got nothing from them. it's weird, but yeah, nothing at all.
All right, let me ask you this, Shelley. In your opinion, is evil is evil real? Are there such things as demons and demonic possession, as we've seen on TV, for example, in the movie The Exorcist?
Well, I'm going to tell you from my own experience,
Yeah.
personal experience. I have never experienced anything like that nor seen, but I do believe that it can be a real thing. I think that states of mind, if people have depression or anything like that, or if maybe they're stressed or they're vulnerable.
So
I do think that it could be a real thing. And going farther, I'm gonna step out on a limb and go a little bit farther. I'm starting to do some real looking into mental illness, because I don't feel that everyone who is in a mental facility is crazy.
I believe you. I agree with you.
I don't. I think that maybe some of them are having real experiences and they are not crazy.
Yeah. Shelley, why do I understand that you and other professional researchers are doing everything you can, and the sad part is that you and the other researchers out there are paying for the research out of your own pockets. Why do you think the mainstream scientific community doesn't get behind you and give you guys a hand?
Well, I think because so much of it is, they're having a hard time proving the nuts and bolts, the holy grail.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what I also think is, right now in this point in time, I don't think the money is available for it. Although I'll tell you that money should be available for it, because I have read CIA file after file after file, and they have done paranormal research. Paid for it, and they've done a lot of work with that. So I don't know why that the money is not extended to the scientists for that. It should be.
Well, from what I understand, the CIA was doing investigations into the paranormal to see if America's enemies could be using research into the paranormal to cause a threat to the U.S. national security. So in order to do that research, they've had to do theirs. And then you've got people like Uri Geller, who also subcontracted or contracted was contracted by the CIA as a test plot or a test case to see if and how credible paranormal investigations could be, and if the paranormal activity could pose a threat to the U.S. And so I can understand why they got involved.
Right, and maybe they just, they had a lot of experimentation and a lot of research into that aspect of it for quite some. They started getting into the mind control and the teleporting and all of that, but I just don't think. I think they should have went a little further, and I mean, they've done this stuff with even telekinesis and all of that, and I think they should just have went a little further, and they should actually extend funds. I do, because they did have some positive findings,
Yep.
So.
All right, Shelley, you and I have to take our final break for this hour. Please stand by. And X Zone Nation, if you'd like to get a copy of or read the online version of the X Chronicles newspaper for September, it is available at www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. And what we're doing is we're opening the X Chronicles newspaper to everyone each and every month. You don't have to pay anything to read it. It is free. www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com, and it has been published by Relmar, which is the company that I am the president and CEO of for the last 33 years. Once again, www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com. And Shelly and I will be back as we wrap up this hour here in the X Zone. That's right. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Send me your comments. Are you a skeptic or are you a believer? We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network and X Zone Broadcast Network. Visit our website at www.xzoneradiotv.com.
From town to town, she sleeps on a roller coaster. Looks like a girly poster.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said...
And Shelly Robertson is my guest of this hour, X Zone Nation. And if you'd like to contact Shelly or visit her website, maybe you've got a question or two, or maybe your house is haunted and you need help, visit www.187pi.com. Shelly, what other aspects of the paranormal do you and your team and your researchers investigate?
We do private investigations, residential. We will do business. We go to other locations. We've been to a few places there in Canada and that were just very awesome. As a matter of fact, the bulk of our research is turned that into a paranormal research center, since it is very haunted, and there's the resident spirits and transients and children. So we do the bulk of our work there, and then we test our findings at other places to see if things will work in other locations. If somebody is having a problem at their house, at their place of business, their restaurant, their wherever, we will come and investigate. My research team does not rid the spirit, but we do have associates who are good at cleansings and stuff like that after we find out what's going on. If the homeowner or business or building owner wants rid of them, we will, refer them on to some of our other colleagues.
Right. So, Shelly, where, besides your jail where you do the bulk of your investigations, where would you say the most haunted location that you and your researchers have gone to would be outside of your jail?
I would say most haunted places I've went to would be probably Waverly Hills Sanitarium, and that's in Kentucky.
Right.
And we had some very interesting interactions with children there.
Really?
On the children's in the children's ward and in the psychiatric ward, and you know, a lot of people said they have seen like the crawler and had some pretty intense experiences. But when we were there, we didn't have any negative experiences, but some very interesting activity with children. We have some videos up on YouTube of this research. I would say that would probably one of the most haunted other places that I've been. And I've been to a lot of places, a lot of different jails.
Right.
We stayed at an old jail up there in Canada that they converted into a hostel, and we were down in the cafeteria one evening. To somebody's footsteps and stuff come walking right past us, and we're like, "Okay, hi."
I imagine that you're talking about the Ottawa City Jail.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing. That's a haunted place too. And we've been to Canada a few times to some different locations, and oh my gosh, I just love it there. I do.
Shelly, don't the spirits get upset that paranormal investigators keep prodding them, keep disturbing them, kind of making it into a circus, basically? Not all researchers, but I've had guests on the show who...
I think, I think what I personally think, because I've developed some relationships with some of the resident spirits at the jail, and I carry on normal conversations with them, just like we're talking, and they chime in, they talk back. I think what they don't like the most is the same questions over and over, and you can understand. I mean, if a 1,000 people asked you the same question, what's your name? Can you make this light up and stuff like that? You would get irritated by it,
Exactly.
And I think that's what happens. And I try to encourage people who come to the building, because we do public ghost hunts in the building and show people around and show people the equipment and everything. And I'm just like, look, I encourage normal conversation. I mean, you're going to get a better response and better interactions with the spirits here, and people are just so amazed. I'm like, I think they're like me and you. They just don't have a body,
But does one's religious belief, or the belief in the religious philosophy that they practice, does this have an effect on their ability to see, hear, communicate with spirits?
Well, I think that open mind, and this is going to be really ironic for all the listeners who don't know, but my father is a Pentecostal preacher and has been for a very long time, since I've been a wee little thing. And I'm not that religious per se, and as far as that, into it that deep, but a lot of that, they aren't open-minded to it, and a lot of opinions. And I think if you don't want to acknowledge or hear it or something, you won't. You know what I mean? I think you do have to be open and receptive. And my dad has been to the jail many times. And he's like, I've never heard nothing up here. And I'm like, well, you don't want to hear nothing up here because of your position, you know? So I think there is something to that,
Yeah.
yes.
Shelly, we've got about a minute and a half left. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. Great pleasure talking to you. I wish you and the other people of your organization the best of luck, and let us know if you do come up with any connections with the blood work that you're doing. But what are your final thoughts for the listeners?
I would say, first and foremost, treat the spirits with respect and because you will get farther with them and further in your research if you do that. Also, if you find a haunted location, go back and go back and go back and go back, because that's how you will learn more and more and more, because the constant interaction, you will find that you can actually develop relationships with intelligent spirits. I know it sounds like a long shot, but it's true. So
yeah. Well, Shelly, I have to say so long for tonight. I want to once again thank you for joining us. And Exonation, if you'd like to,
having me.
Great pleasure, my friend. And Exonation, if you'd like to contact Shelly, please visit her website at www.187pi.com. Now, Exonation, I've been speaking to my producer during the show. We apologize for any interruption in the interview that we've had. There's been a problem with line. We've tried the lines over and over again. And, we'll have Shelly back on, and hopefully we'll be able to correct the problems that we were facing. Great lady. I love her research. I love the way she's working. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as the X-Zone continues with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center and studios in Crystal Beach, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, and don't forget, the X Chronicles newspaper is with our compliments and the compliments of our many advertisers, especially SimulTV. Visit www.xchroniclesnewspaper.com.